Good morning. Father Michael here. So, yesterday I was hoping to get a little gardening done, get that church garden going, but it was so cold and rainy and miserable. And even though I had, 30 bags of compost in my vehicle, I was not in the mood to do it. And I was right, because it's going to be down into the 30s again tonight. So it's not the time to be planting just yet, even though it's Mother's Day week. So I am outside stringing some new lights over the canopy and stuff like that. And I'm thinking about bugs, and particularly caterpillars. When I was a kid, I always tried to catch one and put it in a jar and make it actually do its metamorphosis magic and come out a butterfly. I don't know that I was ever successful at that, truthfully. I think there was a couple times where I actually found the cocoon already in maturity, and I was able to cut the branch off and stick it in a jar, for a day or two, and then something happened. Well, it turns out, and I just learned this, that there are some caterpillars that have a poisonous bite, a painful bite or a sting. And it's not that they literally bite you, or, that one with the green one with that stinger on that back end, that doesn't actually do anything. It's the bristles that some of them can sting you with. They can get them like a porcupine, and they can stick in your skin and cause all kinds of allergic reactions. It's those bristles. But it's the changing of caterpillars into butterflies or moths that is straight up an amazing process of metamorphosis. Because if you look at the little slug-like, creepy crawling slow-mo thing, crawling up your cabbage leaf, it doesn't seem like anything good is really going on there, except your garden is being slowly destroyed. The leaves are being slowly chewed and eaten by those annoying caterpillars. But in point of fact, it is the natural order of the universe. There's a natural transformational process built into this evolving creation. And even though when it is in its ugly ratchet stage, the caterpillar stage, there is still the potential there for something more. Something that almost can't be imagined, really. And when we actually do encounter the butterfly version, nobody looks at a butterfly and says, "Oh, there's that ugly caterpillar again with wings." No. It doesn't matter what the caterpillar's past was. Nobody remembers that. There is only the miracle of the present moment. All of nature, all of the created order follows the evolutionary plan of the Creator. It is always moving forward, always transforming itself, always moving from simplicity, think of single-cell organisms, to highly complex organisms. Everything in the natural order is called to evolve, even you and me. But here's the shitty part about being a human being. Of all God's creatures, we are the only ones that have a choice in our own evolution. We can choose to be engaged in this transformational process of life and to willingly enter into metamorphosis or not. We can, kick and scream and resist and try to keep things the way they are and be miserable. Life for us is not a straight line. It's like, one day we're this, and then 10 years later, we're automatically evolved into this, and then we're something else later on. It's not like that. There isn't like one set plan ever taking us, unconsciously into happily ever after or into living our best lives. This is all a choice. And all of the gifts of this life, and they are infinite in number, all of them need to be recognized and acknowledged and accepted and ultimately integrated into who we are becoming. We are always in a state of metamorphosis, and we are never going to fully arrive in this dimension of reality, but we can nonetheless always choose to go with rather than against the creative flow of God's evolutionary plan. The alternative, of course, because we have free will in this, we can dig in, we can cling to those disappointments and sorrows and loss and foster and keep those resentments alive our entire lives if we want. Or we can just accept the fact that sometimes even the worst circumstances, the greatest disappointments, the greatest hurts, have within them unlimited positive energy. We can choose to find that unlimited positive energy and engage even in our sadness and in our struggles in this great evolutionary plan of the Creator. Or, like I said, it's always a choice. We can just keep on trying to fight the innate power of metamorphosis. Paul tells us in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds, so that you can figure out God's will, the things that are good and acceptable and perfect." And I think what he means there is don't get locked in appearances. Look beyond the appearances. There's a great Pet Shop Boys song called Metamorphosis, and I'm going to post that as soon as I finish this little session today. And some of the lyrics are as follows: "Dreaming is easy, life is tough, I got the picture. The most important thing is to not end up bitter. Because when you start to feel increasingly forlorner, whoomph, love comes right around the corner. It may not last, but here am I, once a caterpillar, now a butterfly. It can seem strange, but when you reminisce, it's all about change. It's a metamorphosis." Pray with me, please. Creative, ever-present God, come into our hearts and minds this morning with a renewed awareness of your divine plan for us and for all of your creation. Help us today to consider the transformation of the caterpillar and to remember that we too are on this transformational path with you. Help us to engage in the natural spiritual order, to willingly open ourselves to your evolutionary plan. Keep us moving forward today, choosing to be transformed by our circumstances, always choosing to move beyond appearances to a deeper understanding. And as we engage willingly in the process of metamorphosis, help us to remember the teaching of your Christ, who tells us that we will be able to do even greater things than he was able to do, simply by trusting him and following. Amen. Don't be afraid to change.